Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the Personnel Commission meeting to order. Today is Monday, April 22nd, and it is 5:33.
Okay, and I will call roll. Commissioner Bronze,
Here.
Commissioner Cummins,
Here.
Commissioner Eddie Mitchell,
Here.
Commissioner Haro.
Here.
Everyone's in attendance.
The report on posting the agenda.
Yeah, the agenda was posted. I didn't write it down. Can we come back to that? I wrote it down and I need to pull that out.
Nope, sounds good. Okay, so moving on to item 2, communications by members of the public for items not on the agenda. Public comment by members of the public on items not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Personnel Commission. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. This portion of the meeting is reserved for person desiring to address the commission on matters not on the agenda. The law does not permit commission action or extended discussion on any item not on the agenda except under special circumstances. If commission action is requested, the commission may place the matter on a future agenda.
Any public comments this evening? Okay, going back to reporting on the posting of the agenda was posted on Friday, April 19th, 2024 at 4:31 p.m. So now we can go to 3.
Okay, approval of the minutes for the meeting of March 25th, 2024.
I move that we approve the minutes for the meeting of March 25th, 2024.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to the Human Resources Director's report.
The only thing I have in my report area this evening is that, the way our meeting schedule is falling for the month of May, the meeting falls on Memorial Day, and it's a holiday. So then the bylaws for the Personnel Commission say that, it'll be rescheduled to the following Monday, which takes us into the month of June, which is fine. We can meet, in June and have a regular meeting in June. So if it's necessary for us to meet, then the meeting would take place on the first Monday in June. And then, the regular June meeting would also take place. So looking at the calendar, for the month of June, that would put us June 3rd would be our regular meeting. And then June 24th, 3 weeks later, would also be our regular meeting. So as you know, I only schedule Personnel Commission meetings when we actually have items to be heard by the commission. So I'll try to take that into consideration, consolidate where I can. If there's something time sensitive, of course, I'll bring it forward. But if it's not time sensitive, or if I can consolidate into just one June meeting, then I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. Moving on to informational items, we have the recruitment and employment status report.
Yes, we've been busy with our recruitment and employment work since we last met a month ago. And we continue to work through all of our different hiring processes. So I wanted to point one thing out to you on the page 1, the first line, our police officer positions. We are at a place where all of our sworn positions are filled. We are now looking ahead at retirements, or other new positions. We have 2 new positions for July 1st. So we're now looking ahead to, try to get a leg up on getting people into the hiring pipeline when we know those vacancies are coming or the new positions are coming. This has been a work in progress, and I know different members of this commission have helped us with interview panels and things, and it's been a lot of work by Sergeant Lamont Tony, so I'd like to give him props for working through the hiring and keeping it going, and that we're in a position that's envious to many other agencies right now. Now, we still have some vacancies on the non-sworn side that we're still working through, but we're making progress, and I just wanted to point that out. Because we've had this police officer recruitment going, I think it's always on. It's always on our report. So the rest of the items that are on page 1 and just slightly onto page 2 are the recruitments that we have posted right now and for which we're taking in applications. So we have quite a few things going right now and more things that are being added. And then on page 2, the middle section is all the different recruitments that we have in different stages of the process where candidates are either coming in for second interviews, they're in background check. We've already screened applications and we have interviews or an assessments that are scheduled, those kinds of things. And so that's that big section on the second page. And then the bottom of page 2, going on to the top of page 3 is our new hires since we last met. And then the last section on page 3 are separations that we've had since we last met. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
The fire division chief vacancy, was that a retirement?
We have an upcoming retirement. So Division Chief Randy Wong is going to be retiring in May. And so we had an eligibility list from our last round of, you were on that assessment center. So dusted that off and we've
Wow.
got an interview scheduled.
How nice that you already had a list.
Yes. Yes.
Any other questions, comments? No?
Otherwise, it's just informational item for you.
Okay.
No action.
Okay, sounds great. So moving on to item number 6, unfinished business. We have updates to the job description for the position of environmental programs manager.
So at your meeting in January, you looked at this environmental programs manager job description that we brought for you to review. But since that time, we've hired a new public works director. And we were working with the new public works director to get the recruitment underway. And the public works director in looking at the job description really felt there were some changes and clarifications that were important to make to this job description. The prior interim public works director who was here assisted with the job description and just had a little bit different of a lens as he worked through the job description. We wanted to give our new public works director, Heba Elwindi, the ability to look at the job description and make some additional changes that she felt were important before we got too far into the recruitment process. She wanted to make sure that it was clear to anyone who is applying for this job that we're not asking them to take on more work than what is realistic for the position. There were some things and references related to utilities that still remained in the job description because the prior interim public works director took more of a broad brush approach to looking at the description. And the utilities department will have some of their own staff that will work on environmental compliance duties. So this position will not be providing that support to the utilities department. And so she felt that it was important that we make these clarifications and corrections to the job description because we do expect this to be a somewhat challenging of a recruitment. Some of the highly technical positions like this one have been a little bit more challenging to find qualified candidates. So we didn't want to scare somebody away or have somebody be confused about the scope of work for the position. And we really we do want our job descriptions to be accurate. And we want it to really reflect the work that the person's going to perform. So we shared this again with the Gilroy Management Association. They didn't have any concerns with the updates. They really did appreciate the additional review that the new director took, and they want to make sure we work toward a successful recruitment process. So attached to the staff report is the edits to the description in track changes format, so you can see exactly what changes were made, just to make sure everything was clear. Combined a couple things that seemed repetitive and made sure some things that they are going to find were clearly stated. So we did get this recruitment underway, but we focus more on the ideal candidate and the first year projects and things in the job posting, because that's more of a marketing brochure. But we do want to activate the link to the job description as well. But we wanted to wait till after this commission meeting to do that so that we didn't confuse any candidates that might be looking at the position.
Can I ask this question? Will this position be supervising anybody directly?
So not initially, other than contract staff that we're using right now, Morgan Hill is providing these services to, Gilroy. And so there's gonna be a transition and a phasing period, you know, as we end that agreement with them and have our own staff come on board. So there's gonna be some overlap time there associated with that. I envision, you know, hopefully an intern coming into this unit, as well as, this person will need to probably manage some consulting contracts and different, things that they'll have to, oversee the work. And then Morgan Hill has 3 staff assigned to this function. Now, they were selling services to us, so, but at least they had 2 of their own staff. So I'm hopeful that, you know, as we move forward, that we'll protect, you know, we have the potential of adding a second person that this person would supervise.
Okay, and so then you would have to amend or go back and revise the job description, right? Because I don't see anything in here about supervision.
We had something in here about that.
It just says overseeing coordinated activities of the storm and drain and stormwater programs, but I didn't see anything about staff supervision.
At one point, I know that was in here. But yes, we would, if they're gonna be formally assigned, then we would definitely add that back in.
Well, I will make a motion to approve as is. Since it's not applicable at this time anyway. I was just thinking down the road, since it is part of GMA and it's technically a managerial.
It's in the knowledge of effective management training and supervision of employees. So we did leave it there. So if you want to effectively lead it in skills, effectively lead a team, effectively lead in a supervisory capacity. So if you feel like something additional should be in the duties section, I think it's okay to add it now as a part of your approval.
Okay. Yeah, I would. I think effectively lead a team, they could be leading a team of consultants, right? So I think it would be beneficial to specifically call it out in the.
Supervise and manage assigned personnel.
Yes.
So we'll add that statement to the duties section.
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to make a motion with that amendment?
Yes. So I'll make a motion to approve the job description with the amendment that we add to the job duties, that line that says supervise and manage assigned personnel.
I second that.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Opposed? Moving on to new business, we have established job description and salary range for the position of senior hazardous materials inspector and reclassification to position.
Yes. So this item that's before you this evening is a change to an existing unfilled position within the Community Development Department, Fire Prevention, Hazardous Materials, Pretreatment Division. There's a lot of words. And our Community Development Director, Sharon Goy, is on the Zoom screen. If there's any technical questions, she is able to answer those. Currently, the classifications of hazardous materials inspector 1, 2, 3 are available classifications within the Community Development Department in this long name division. Right now, we have positions budgeted and filled at the hazardous materials inspector 1 and 2 levels. But over the last few years, we've had an employee who's classified as a hazardous materials inspector 2, who has been working out of class at the 3 level, as there was a need for someone on the team to complete some higher level, more technical work in the division. And normally higher class assignments don't last for more than a year, but due to COVID and some other staffing changes, this higher class assignment has continued for a few years. With the employee receiving temporary upgrade pay for performing the additional work over this longer period of time. So in talking with staff, we determined that this higher level and more technical work is not ending. And so it really does necessitate a need for an employee to continue working at the higher level. And when staff looked at the Hazmat Inspector 3 level description, it was determined that it needed some updating and some other things to be incorporated to include the training of new employees and providing some lead direction in the field. So they prefer the classification of senior hazardous materials inspector over hazmat inspector level 3. And so that revamping of the job description was completed and is attached to the staff report in your materials for this evening. The senior hazardous materials inspector, again, puts more focus on training and a lead role in the higher position along with the technical work. And although we do have a hazardous materials supervisor / deputy fire marshal position, we still do need a senior in this function to assist with the day-to-day work in the field and to help provide training and mentorship to the 2 new employees. We have a newer level 1 inspector that's working with us, and we're getting ready to bring on another inspector level 1 to the team. So, like I said, we revamped the inspector level 3 job description to better meet the needs of the division, including the title change to senior hazardous materials inspector. The employee who is performing this temporary upgrade work along with the supervisor assisted the managers in community development department in developing the changes to the job description to make sure it accurately reflected the work that's being performed. And then we also shared the job description with our AFSCME labor group and provided an opportunity to review the job description, and some suggestions were provided which have been incorporated. At this time, we're also looking at the salary range for the position. The hazardous materials inspector 3 classification the work is similar enough that we think that range is appropriate for the senior level position as well. It's set just over 10% higher than the level 2 position, which is appropriate differential for a senior, and is similar differential to other positions that have a series or a senior level position above. Staff recommends, therefore, that this senior hazardous materials inspector position be set at the AFSCME general unit salary range of $111,488 to $149,405. This is the range that's shared with our engineer 2 classification, which is a journey level civil engineer with a state of California professional engineering license. And then just for your reference, I included the other positions in the job series. So you can see that the hazardous materials inspector 1 tops out at 122, then the level 2 goes to 135. The senior level will be at 149. And then the supervisor, deputy fire marshal is currently at 157. So the employee who is been helping in this extra work, he's hazardous materials inspector 2, SIS Lona. And he, initially this assignment was not expected to last more than a year, but it did. And so we feel at this time, since the work is going to continue, that it's appropriate to reclassify SIAS to the senior hazardous materials inspector position. This reflects the work that he's currently doing, and we should transition him into that role. So we're asking the Personnel Commission to reclassify him to the senior level position to acknowledge this higher level, more complex work that he continues to perform, and to acknowledge the lead trainer role that he has taken on with other members of the team. And we're also following our HR rules and regulations. Human Resources is evaluating the appropriate placement in the senior inspector salary range for Mr. Lona, as well as the effective date based on an analysis of his compensation, because he has been receiving the temporary upgrade pay during this whole time, and in addition to his regular pay and his annual merit increases during this time. So a separate analysis is taking place with respect to his placement. So this evening, we're asking you to take a few actions. One is to approve the job description for the senior hazardous materials inspector position. Establish the senior hazardous materials inspector salary range as stated in the staff report. And then approve the reclassification of hazardous materials inspector to SIS Lona to the senior hazardous materials inspector position. So with all of that, I'll take any questions that any of you may have, and Sharon is here as well to answer any questions that you might have that are more appropriate for her.
Is he really getting a raise or it's about what he's been getting in the past?
There are, you know, the whole analysis, you have to look at each step of the way, but there was advantages to him of getting the out of class pay. He certainly is landing at a place where he's not gonna receive a lower compensation. And we're gonna place him appropriately and make sure that it's fair going on a go-forward
Yeah.
basis.
Does he have looks like the California State Fire Marshal Prevention 1A the certificate?
He meets the requirements of the
Yes.
position, yeah.
It's a lot of certification.
Yes. It's a very technical position
Yes.
and there are certain certifications that they have to move to this level, and then certain ones that they can obtain within 1 year from moving into the position, or 6 months from moving into the position. And this is a function, I don't know if you all know this, that kind of the reverse of the environmental services, we provide these services to Morgan Hill.
Oh.
So we have the shared joint wastewater treatment plants here in Gilroy. Gilroy has more than the majority share of the wastewater treatment plant. The hazardous materials pretreatment program falls under the, auspices of the wastewater treatment plant, which serves both Gilroy and Morgan Hill. So in this instance, we have the team of inspectors here that go out and inspect the businesses both in Gilroy and Morgan Hill. So if they pay their share of the cost of the wastewater treatment plant and the related staff to include the hazardous materials inspectors, team members. Did I get that right, Sharon?
Yes. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation to establish a senior hazardous materials inspector job description, a senior hazardous materials inspector salary range, and the reclassification of hazardous materials inspector to Isaiah Lona to senior hazardous materials inspector.
Before you take a second to that motion, we should ask for a public comment because we do have a member of the public here. If you want to make a public comment, you don't have
Yes.
to, but since you're here, I'm gonna give you that
Yes.
opportunity.
So I just wanted to say that we really look forward to these types of reclassifications of our employees, of our union members. Isaiah has been doing this job for about 2.5 years, so it's really nice to see that he's, getting the promotion and that he is getting what he needs from us, and this also provides kind of a step ladder and retention for employees that are here, so it gives them something to look forward to and another step in their career here in the city of Gilroy, so I think that's really important. And everybody in the hazmat team does a lot of inspections, they do a lot of work for us, so it's just great to see this happening.
Okay. Now we can take a
The
second.
nomination.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay.
Opposed?
Excellent. Thank you very much. Support of that. I agree with everything Susanna just said.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
Okay, item number 8, future personnel commission business.
So we have a few utilities items that are still on our to-do list for job descriptions that we're working with our new utilities director to develop. And then we're also continuing our work on updating some of our sworn peace officer job descriptions. And so those are still on our to-do list of things that we have to work on. And we'll bring those to you as we have them ready.
Okay, great. Any questions before we adjourn? No? Okay, so then adjourning the Personnel Commission meeting at 5:58 PM.
All right, let me stop recording.